Namaskaram, everyone. So we'll get into the today's topic, which is basically how we can be rooted while parenting our children in this globalized world right now. When I'm saying it's globalized world, guys, we have to understand because we are living in a world of 15-second trends. Basically, it's like AI generated reality and a globalized culture that sometimes feels like it's something it's so smoothing over our own identities. As parents, we often ask ourselves, how do I keep my children rooted in our own family values and culture without making them feel isolated from the modern world? So today we are talking about the roots and wings philosophy, how to give them the culture that grounds them and the confidence to fly in this 21st century. So let's get started. First challenge what we have is basically the identity blurriness. So identity blurriness, that means specifically if I talk about the Gen Z and Gen Alpha are the first truly global generations. They are influenced more by algorithms, than by the any elders in the living room. For example, if I talk about my generation, if you being a parent, you were talking about your generation, if you think about it, so we were not that much connected all over the internet and everything, and today this creates an identity blur, meaning that if we don't intentionally share our heritage, the internet will fill that void for us. But here's the secret: children don't want a lecture, you know, they always what they do, they want a connection. And because if you tell somebody, like let's say somebody is below 15, 16, if you go keep telling the same thing, they most likely they will do the opposite thing, which they have been doing, by the way. So you can check it out in your home. So we have to build that connection. There is a bridge needs to be built now, where most of us we are having challenge, basically, to be honest, in daily life, right? Being a parent. By the way, it's a disclaimer, I'm not a parent, so I'm just talking about on behalf of all the parents I'm dealing with on a daily basis. So for me, the strategy number one, the first strategy would be living culture, not just teaching it. That's what I meant. That means culture isn't a textbook, it's a lifestyle. So for example, you may ask, you can start with the kitchen classroom. For example, don't just serve the traditional food, cook it with them. Ask them, hey guys, come in to help me with maybe some chopping the vegetables, maybe some adding the spices, and telling them the sequence of the spices, after what spices you're adding this, the next one, and why you're adding this. So explain why we use these spices, and the story background behind it, behind the entire recipe. And then next come the micro rituals, what I call it. It doesn't have to be 6 hours festival. It can be a 30-second morning prayer, maybe, or maybe these days is available Miracle of Mind, the meditation app, free of cost, made by Isha Foundation. Sadhguru during last Mahashivratri time he launched it. It's free for everybody, so is over billions of people have already downloaded. Do that. It's just 7 minutes. It's just 7 minutes time. Invest for your well-being in the morning. You along with your family, kids, boom. So that means a specific way to greet elders in the family, or maybe weekly family, sometimes sitting together, and it's a maybe story hour, right? Maybe you have grandparents in the family, so everybody keep your mobile phones, laptop, everything away and sit for 1 hour at least. Everybody, maybe at the weekend or whatever may be the case, you find at least one day in a week. So, and then by doing this, naturally, your kids, you will see, they will have a love for the local language, the mother tongue, because grandparents most likely talk to them in the mother tongue. So they will start developing new vocabulary, new words from those stories, right? You're not teaching them vocabularies, but they're picking those things from the story because they are started relating them with those new stories, right? Or the vocab. So even if they don't speak the mother tongue fluently, keep home speak, right? And alive through those idioms, songs, all kinds of things. So like when they hear those stories, it basically resonates with them. Next, strategy number 2, I would say, is like, curating the digital village, which means think about it. In the old days, it took a village to raise a child, which meaning that the boy or the girl, they used to be part of the village activity, the games they used to play every day. Every village kid, they used to come together, they used to play together. It's called social skills. They used to know everybody's strength and weaknesses when they're coming together. So it's basically bringing everybody, and they're getting so closely bonded, right? Today, that village is on their phone, on the screen, right? So it's kind of calling algorithm auditing, right? Help them find curators, right? For example, the creators who look like them, or maybe share their values, right? If they see their culture being cool online, right? The same thing, if it is online, they are more likely to embrace it at home. For example, these days you probably are being able to see on internet in India, there are bhajan clubs are going on, so which is a great thing, because the Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they are being able to try to connect with them, right? Because it has electro beats, it is pop music is added, some guitar fusions, rock fusions they are doing. So it's a good thing, right? They're being able to connect with this. So such kind of thing, they feel like it's cool. So now in the bhajan, they're asking their parents to also join. Probably this is the only one thing they're asking their parents to join in the party. Otherwise, they can't, right? So I mean, the critical eye. Next would be the critical eye. Teach them to be digital detectives. Do not ask them to stay away from the digital thing. Ask them how they could become more vigilant, right? So before doing every single thing, they should be doing the due diligence. Before sharing the OTP, before clicking on any link, before clicking on any email. So you are not becoming, the victim of the phishing attacks, right? So when they see something online that contradicts your family values, don't just ban it. I mean, discuss it, ask how does it, fits with how we treat people in our family. So they will easily understand. For example, best example is OTT. In India, on OTT platforms, you parents probably know what kind of, the jargon, the dirtiest thing they are showing us. So you being a parent, you, instead of telling them not to watching or scolding them, sit with them and then ask them, these are the things they're showing, and these are below, you guys are below teenage, so do you think these things are really resonating with our family values, or maybe it's going to be helpful for our any family persons? So they will easily get it, right? One thing, they will not get the subscription because they do not have the credit card, debit card, so you don't give them access to the money. Second thing, even though they ask you, instead of shouting at them, you just sit with them and tell them the difference, why it's not resonating with our family, and why investing on such things, buying those subscriptions, is not going to be helpful for him or her, right? Strategy number 3, the why behind and what, everything needs to be clear logically, which can really make sense to them. It shouldn't be only making sense to them, it should be making sense to them, because they are the Gen Z and Gen Alpha we are talking, because they are, for them, they are basically Y generation. For every single thing you see, they will, first thing you'll ask, why can't we watch this, why can't we do this, why? So don't just accept, like, that because I said so, or because it's tradition, they're not going to accept it, and that is true. So we have to coming up with an explanation of It's a logical explanation you have to give them. For example, if you have a family rule about, let's say, modesty, respect, community service, explain the logic of how it protects the heart and builds a better society. Everybody is connected. We have a strong relationship in the society. And the best thing you learn is a people skill. You learn a social skills. So this is the right explanation. We have to tell them why you should go and volunteer, why you should go and volunteer. For example, I have kids, my students, they go on with me on every weekends when we do the Miracle of Mind meditation session. So some of kids, they join me and they volunteer with me. So I told them why volunteering is important. So right now I don't have to push them, they volunteer. And next thing is, guys, every family, they have kind of a family manifesto, right? So you have to sit down and write, you know, sometimes maybe we need to write, or maybe we have to talk about, what kind of family manifesto we want. For example, like what are those 5 words, define maybe your last name, maybe your family name, your last name, right? It could be kindness, it could be resilience, it could be hospitality, it could be persistence. I mean, those are the things which we can sit with them, and those things can easily, resonate with them. They can easily connect with them, and let them help to choose the words for themselves. Then they will realize, yeah, that's really, resonating with me. The next time I'm not going to watch this, I'm not going to do this, because it's against my surname, and I don't want to, embarrass, and I don't want to, misuse my surname. Next, these are the top 3 strategies which I have said. There could be many more, like I said. So there is no only one way to do things, but what I'm just trying to say, all, in the end, like, it's like, the tree analogy which I always give to my students, and when I'm giving a talk, I use this. Think about, your child as a tree. The deeper the roots go into the soil of their heritage, the higher they can grow towards the, sky, without toppling over when the winds of change blow, right? Winds of change means, in a life, the different situations they will be coming across, they will be, exposed to. So they will not be shaken, because foundation is firm, is strong. They'll be able to, swing away, and whatever the things are coming, they will be fine. They'll be able to face it. They'll be able to make it through. And you aren't just teaching them the history, you are also giving them a compass. For example, this is exactly how history led us here. And if we pay attention to history, there are a lot of things to learn, so that we can, basically navigate our future by not making the mistakes which our ancestors did, or maybe learning the great things our ancestors they have done, and those things we can implement in our life, and they will also, more likely, they will work for us. So, having said that, what is, one's tradition or value from your childhood that you are determined, to pass on to your kids? It's basically, we have to start thinking about it, and then we have to mention it. And if you literally have those traditions in your family, so feel free to, let's start maybe commenting below. At least you can write about the culture thread, whatever the culture you have in your family, or it's what are the histories are related to with your surname. I'd love to see those comments below. So don't forget to like this video if you found it really helpful, and subscribe for more deep dives into, modern parenting. And until next time, keep those root tips. Namaskar. Over and out.